This movie surprised me by actually living up to the hype. I had been told on several occasions that this film was going to be great. Personally, I wasn't overwhelmed by the trailer for the film, so I was a bit skeptical. That said, I realized that I actually ended up liking this film by the time it was over. Guardians of the Galaxy follows 5 misfits who are forced to team up for various reasons. After they work together and gain each other's respect, they become a team against an evil alien warlord who plans to destroy his enemies with a very powerful weapon. At this point, comparisons to the Avengers might be a little obvious, but I still won't go there. The Guardians themselves are comprised of Peter, Star-Lord Quill, Gamora, Rocket, Drax, and Groot. Peter was abducted from Earth in the 80s when he was a boy, and he's been a space criminal ever since. Gamora is the highly skilled assassin who was raised by the most powerful force of evil in their galaxy after he wiped out her family. Drax has also had his family murdered, except in his case by the movie's main villain, and he's desperate to take revenge. Groot is a benevolent sort of space ent that travels with Raccoon. Rocket is the result of many forced lab experiments, and he's otherwise the technological genius of the group. All 5 of these people have had things unfairly robbed from them. 3 of them are especially bitter and distrusting because of it. But when the film's plot entangles them all in an uneasy alliance, they learn to open themselves up to each other. That's what I liked the most about these protagonists. All 5 of them have genuine reasons to be sympathized with, but also good reasons to be angry, and they're all very well performed. Chris Pratt is a good lead, Zoe Saldana does great as Gamora, Bradley Cooper surprised me with his voice for Rocket, and Dave Bautista was a great choice for Drax. Meanwhile, Vin Diesel seems to channel his most famous voice acting role while playing Groot in this movie. I'm not even going to have to name Vin Diesel's most famous voice acting role. You've probably already thought of it just looking at his character. Meanwhile, the other characters of the story are a mixed bag, some being very well done, but are unfortunately thrown to the sidelines. Specifically, Djimon Hounsou and Benicio del Toro. You would think that these 2 Academy Award-nominated actors would have lots to do in this movie, but they're unfortunately just side characters who appear once in a while. It's a shame, but they do what they can. And besides, the story isn't about them, so it's no huge loss to me. Meanwhile, Karen Gillan is unrecognizable as Gamora's less sympathetic sister, Glenn Close and John C. Reilly show up a few times, and Michael Rooker gets to overact the hell out of his role as a very strange character who never makes up his mind on whether he's a good guy or a bad guy. The main villain is Ronan, played by Lee Pace, and while he's not as interesting as any of the protagonists, he's not exactly terrible either. But be that as it may, the main focus is on the 5 Guardians, as it should be. We follow them as they struggle with personal tragedies only to band together when they see a chance to prevent such tragedy from striking other people. They go from outcasts to criminals to heroes, and it's a very well-developed arc for all 5 of them. The Guardians of the Galaxy is a surprisingly good film, one of the better Marvel films to have come out so far. It's well filmed, well written, well acted, with some great action sequences in between the 70s music and the comedy bits. It's the kind of superhero movie that perfectly balances drama and comedy to provide a thoroughly entertaining film.